So, this was supposed to be a simple road trip. Just me, a rusted thermos of black coffee that tastes like boiled bark, and a 2007 Honda Element named Beverly. You know the type. Windows stick, gear shift rattles, but she runs like a Labrador, on espresso. I'd been meaning to do this loop for years. Northern New Mexico up to Colorado, through a scenic stretch of Wyoming, and a lazy curve into Montana. All solo, all analog. No GPS, no Google. Just a crumpled road atlas with questionable margins and the occasional scribble that says things like, "Best pie, don't miss," and "No gas here, liar." Now, I know what you're thinking. Elvin, nobody uses paper maps anymore, unless they're either 70 years old or trying to impress a girl with a film camera. But me? I've got this thing where I trust stories more than signals. I like to let the land tell me where to go, and sometimes it tells me weird things. Anyway, the trip started just fine. Cool morning air, big sky, playlists made entirely of 70s outlaw country, and the occasional guilty pleasure ABBA song to keep me honest. I was somewhere past house, coasting along a stretch of cracked highway, when I saw this old hitchhiker sitting on a folding chair just reading. Not a thumb out, no sign, just a paperback copy of The Bridges of Madison County and a gallon jug of water. I slowed down out of curiosity more than kindness, rolled down the window and called out, "You broken down or doing performance art?" He looked up. Old fella, beard like driftwood, eyes like he'd seen ghosts and married a few. And he just says, "Got a story for you if you got a mile." Now, I'm a sucker for that kind of line, so I picked him up. His name was Artie. Said he used to be a radio DJ in Kansas City back when vinyl was king and cocaine came with a receptionist. He smelled faintly of eucalyptus and roasted peanuts. Not unpleasant, just unexpected. Artie had this deep, rattly voice like a chain smoker reading bedtime stories. And for the next 20 minutes, he spun this yarn about a one-hit wonder, singer who faked his own death during a show at the Kansas State Fair in '83 and now runs a bait shop under an alias in Cody, Wyoming. Swears it's true, he told me, got a cousin who buys night crawlers from him. I was laughing so hard I nearly missed my turnoff. He got out just before the Colorado border, tipped an imaginary hat and walked off into a field like a drifter in a John Steinbeck novel. Never asked for money. Just left me with that wild story and a slightly used copy of Bridges of Madison County with a doodle of a raccoon on the inside cover. That's when things started getting weird. I hit Colorado by sunset. The sky looked like an oil painting, all copper smears and lazy purples. Pulled into a town called Walsenburg that looked like it had been left out in the rain too long, the kind of place where the bar, the diner, and the church all share a parking lot. There was this little diner with a hand-painted sign, "The Place with the Pies." I figured, what the hell? Artie had mentioned pie before vanishing into the tall grass, and I'm nothing if not a man who respects signs. Inside, it was pure Americana. Checkered linoleum. Waitresses named things like Barb or Flo. A jukebox, permanently stuck on Johnny Cash. I sat at the counter, ordered coffee, and asked for the house favorite pie. "You want the cinnamon custard or the banana bourbon?" the waitress asked. "Whichever one involves more reckless life choices," I said. She nodded like she'd heard that 100 times and brought me both. That's when I noticed the guy 3 stools down, wearing a trucker hat that said, "I break for ghosts," and a tattoo of a raccoon eating a taco on his forearm. Now remember, Artie's book? The doodle? I couldn't not ask. "Excuse me," I said, pointing at the tattoo. "That raccoon, is that, symbolic or something?" The guy squinted at me. "Name's Dale. And got drunk in Reno once. Asked for a coyote. Artist gave me this fella instead. Said it was more mischievous." "Right," I said. "I, just met a guy named Artie. He had a raccoon drawing. Said it meant something." Dale laughed, loud and long, like he knew exactly what I was talking about. "You heard one of his stories, didn't you?" he said. "Artie gets around." "Wait, you know him?" "Oh, everyone knows Artie," he said, suddenly serious. "He's been drifting through these states for decades. Tell stories that mess with your compass. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a folded piece of paper. Says he gives everyone something. Mine was this. I unfolded it. Another doodle. This time of a radio tower and the words, "You're getting close." Close to what? I asked. Depends on the story, Dale said, and then he got up and left. Didn't pay. The waitress didn't bat an eye. It was like I'd walked into some roadside version of a fairy tale, and the locals were in on the joke. I finished both slices of pie, which were frankly too good for this universe, and returned to Beverly wondering if maybe I was low on electrolytes or just allergic to cinnamon custard. By the time I hit Wyoming, things had gone full Twilight Zone. Everywhere I stopped, someone had a story about Artie. The gas station clerk in Rawlins said he gave her a cassette tape labeled "Play When It Rains." A fisherman near Buffalo swore Artie helped him find his lost dog, 2 years after it disappeared, by whispering its name into a canyon. But the kicker was the campground. It was just outside of Thermopolis, under this ridgeline that smelled faintly of sulfur and pine sap. I'd parked Beverly under a scraggly cottonwood, set up my chair, cracked a beer, and was halfway through reading a short story collection when I heard a voice. Not close. Distant, echoing, "Tell your story." I froze. The only other tent I'd seen was some family with 2 screaming toddlers on the far side of the lot. This voice wasn't them. It sounded older, ragged, like it had traveled a long way through the woods just to find my ears. "Tell your story," it repeated. I scanned the tree line. Nothing. No footsteps, no animals, just breeze. Now, I'm not a superstitious guy, but something about that voice shook me deep, like it wasn't asking. It was commanding. So I did what any rational man would do. I grabbed my camping lantern and wandered into the woods with my heart pounding like a jackrabbit. I walked for 10 minutes before I found it. A clearing. Empty, except for a campfire burning without wood, just flames licking up from the dirt like they were embarrassed to be seen, and sitting beside it, Artie, smiling. "You again?" I said, half breathless. "You followed me?" He shook his head. "You followed the story. And I'll be honest, I don't remember everything that happened next." We sat. We talked. He asked questions I didn't remember answering. At some point, he handed me another drawing. This one was of me, sitting at a fire, talking to you. I know. Sounds fake, but I woke up the next morning in my tent, alone. No fire, no drawing, just my thermos, still warm, and the bridges of Madison County sitting on my lap again, this time with a bookmark made from a raccoon sticker and a post-it that said, "Now it's your turn." So, yeah, that's how I ended up here, telling this story, around this fire, with you. I don't know what Artie was, some drifter with a flair for the theatrical, a trickster with a keen sense of narrative, or maybe something older, something born from our need to believe that stories matter. But I do know this. Every time I tell this tale, someone asks about him. Someone recognizes the raccoon. Someone pulls out a doodle or a cassette or a half-burnt map and says, "You too?" It's like he's collecting us, the storytellers, the listeners, the folks who drive without GPS and eat strange pie and chase ghosts into the woods. And every now and then, I find myself telling a stranger, "Got a story for you if you got a mile." And I swear, the wind always answers. So that's it. That's my story. And if you ever see a man by the road, reading quietly with a jug of water and a haunted kind of smile, do yourself a favor. Pick him up and listen.